Hey guys, and welcome back to the Minnesotan Sports Podcast. That was a very rough game that we had to go to. I think I just want to start by saying, if you still think that the Vikings struggled in that game and aren't able to get to the next step because of Kirk Cousins, then you're out of your mind and you don't watch the actual game at this point, because we all know what the issues are. And one of the issues I feel like was kind of fixed just a little bit, because I feel like the defense today was a little more aggressive, especially in the first half. They had some trouble, the Bucs were able to get some long drives in the second half, but in the first half anyway, they were able to get some good stops. So at least in that way, the defense was better than it was last season, for one half at least. But the offensive line is the issue. It has been the issue for 5 years now, and there's been very little turnaround in that position. The outside is pretty well covered with Darrisaw and O'Neal, but that interior offensive line has been bad for 3 years, and it's been multiple years, a completely different head coach, completely different front office and coaching staff, and somehow it still hasn't gotten better. We had the entire offseason to fix that problem, and Kirk Cousins somehow still threw for over 300 yards today with a touchdown. I will admit, he made a couple mistakes, specifically that one throw to KJ Osborne. He could have maybe reached out and grabbed that, but it ended up being an interception because he threw it behind KJ and he couldn't quite grab it, and it tipped off and was intercepted. Or it wasn't tipped off, it was just wrestled away from him because he couldn't get a clean throw or catch. So he made a couple mistakes, just like every other quarterback makes in a game, but for the most part he was great. He did what he could do with what he was given, because I've never seen a worse situation that Kirk was in than this game. He literally would catch the ball, look up, and there'd be a guy right there. Go around, go on a play action, come around, and there'd be a guy right there. There's nothing he could do. And some of those check down throws, some of those throws that were just not to the right person, there were maybe 3 or 4 throws in that entire game that were just bad throws by Kirk. The rest of them were just not having time. Jefferson was great, a great touchdown catch did he catch a touchdown? I know Jordan Addison caught a touchdown. It was a great first game for him as a Viking. The offense and the weapons are not the issue. The line just, it needs to be better, and now we know that it won't be better because we didn't make the moves to fix it. Unless we make some late season, early season signing, after the off season, if we still get Risner, because I don't think anyone signed him yet. There can be some things we can do to fix that, but for the most part, it was just a horrible game for the O-line, and you don't want to jump to too many conclusions, but the one conclusion we can jump to is the offensive line is awful, and it will stay awful, because we know it'll stay awful because we have been experiencing this now for multiple years and nothing's changed, and it's the same guys, giving up the same kind of sacks. And Kirk Cousins, why would he want to stay here next season? Regardless of whether the Vikings want to keep him, I don't know if Kirk would want to stay. I wouldn't want to stay. The amount of punishment he's going through, the whole quarterback documentary came out. We didn't do anything, and Kirk has to be very frustrated right now. He should be, because I know I'm going to go onto Instagram now after this, and I'm going to see everyone flaming Kirk Cousins, and the NFC North report that I follow on Instagram, that I only follow just so I can get mad at it because they're so down on the Vikings all the time. They're always so down on Kirk, and they will definitely be all over him after this game. And it's just frustrating because you're placing blame on the wrong person. I get that the quarterback is the main focus of the team, but Kirk did everything he could do, threw for over 300 yards, and it was just the offensive line that dragged him down. There was a heck of a tackle by Jefferson after that interception. There were some fun moments of this game, obviously. I'm always glad I'm able to go out and watch a game, but it's just frustrating because now we're looking at a 1-4 start. Because with this offensive line, there's absolutely no way we're going to get killed by the Eagles. Kirk Cousins might not even survive that game. He's going to get hit so hard and so often. And then we'll lose that game, I guarantee you that. We go to the Chargers, or we host the Chargers next week. I'm very high on the Chargers. I don't think we'll win that one. We will hopefully beat the Panthers, but you never know. And then it's the Chiefs in week 5. So like, we are most likely going to go 1-4 now. It's a really rough start to the season. It gets easier, but it just I am really worried about the first half of the season and how it might be too late even by week 6 or 7 for us to turn this around. But you never know. You gotta stay positive. It's week 1. I mean, Joe Burrow, who Glenn had in fantasy, Joe Burrow. And I'm not comparing Kirk to Joe Burrow. I'm not comparing the Vikings to the Bengals, but the Bengals went into that game against a team that they really should have beat. People are either high or low on the Browns, but we all know the Bengals are better than the Browns, or at least they went into the season better. And they put up 3 against the Steelers, or the Browns, sorry, just like they did last season against the Steelers. And so, I don't know, there's teams that are going to lose in the first week that shouldn't, and that's just the way it is. But it's just frustrating because our situation with the Vikings is we know why we lost, and it's the same reason we lose every year, and we didn't fix it. So, frustrating loss. We will see what happens in Philadelphia. I'm scared at this point to even watch that game, but we'll see what happens. Maybe we can rally around, and Bradbury went out of this game, so we'll have to see if he's good to go, and if not, we got a replacement in there. So we'll see what happens, but a rough 20-17 loss to the Buccaneers, to Baker Mayfield. That offense was awful. They made their way back, and props to them, but frustrating loss, and we'll see what happens in the next game. But thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side.